Hi everyone, it's Viv from Wisdom Released. Excuse me. Hope you've all had a lovely weekend and welcome to your reading for Monday, June the 25th, 2018. I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot by Kim Krans, and this was the image that I woke up with in my head this morning, so it'll be interesting to see whether I pull the World card today. But this is why I'm using this deck, is because I had the image firmly in my mind this morning. I have pre-shuffled. I will shuffle a little bit more, cut the deck, and then we'll have 4 cards, one being the overall energy and then 3 others for today, June the 25th, 2018. Okay. Overall energy, 4 of Swords, 2 of Swords, 4 of Wands, and the Emperor. Interesting, the cards that I've pulled, the 4 of Swords, 2 of Swords, the 4 of Wands, and the Emperor, which is number 4 in the Major Arcana. So we've got 3 4s and a 2. So the overall theme for today is the 4 of Swords, and this in this deck is depicted by a little lamb who's looking very sweet and innocent there, with this lovely sort of sun of inspiration and clarity that there is in the middle of her head. But she's sat there kind of quiet and still, but she has these swords hanging over her, but she doesn't seem to be too perturbed or disturbed. She's resting, taking a time out and waiting for this little ball of sun, this little ball of clarity and inspiration to really kind of explode and I want to say take flight, but just to really expand in her head there, so that she gets some real clarity. So that's the overall theme. The first card that I pulled is the 2 of Swords, and this is like a blockage. It's a stalemate. There's no movement forward. The sun in this card here is blackened out, and so there is no real clarity here. Nobody's moving backwards or forwards. There's no inspiration. There's just a deadlock, and it feels a little bit conflicted as well. There's a sense of not knowing what to do with this card. However, with today's overall theme being the resting and taking a time out, then this is perhaps what we're being invited to do, is just to relax into it, relax into the stalemate, relax into the lack of clarity, and the inspiration will occur. It seems that the clarity or the lack of clarity that we're having is about a need for stability in our lives. And this is certainly resonating for me today. The 4 of Wands is about celebration. It's about happy home. It's about security in our lives. It could be to do with relationships. It could be to do with our professional lives or our personal lives. But there is a stability that we're seeking. This is the middle card, so it's the central theme, and it comes under the 4 of Swords. So this is what we're meditating on today. These are today's energies, and that's flanked by the Emperor. The Emperor is like the father figure in the Major Arcana, and he's standing tall and strong. What I notice with this card, though, is that the sun is very similar to the sun in the Two of Swords, in that it's a little bit blackened out. So the sun helps the tree that's standing tall and still and very strongly rooted. The sun, when it's shining brightly, it helps the tree, helps the father figure to see very, very clearly, very far and very clearly. But there is a sense of there not being that clarity today. Because the Emperor is to do with the father figure of the major arcana, this could be to do with a father figure in your life. It could be your actual father, or it could be to do with a boss, if that's a male, not necessarily a male. But it could be to do with somebody who's taking like a leadership role or a paternal role. And there could be some issues to do with stability around that. Because 3 of the cards are 4s, that's a very solid structure. Just thinking of 4 corners. So because the tree is very tall and strong and still, and the lamb is very still under the swords. My feeling is that the messages for today are really inviting us to become still within ourselves. And the answer or the clarity we seek will come to us from that stillness. I think when it's very easy to get caught up in very busy thinking, and particularly if we've got if there's a question that's foxing us, if we feel like we ought to be making progression and movement forward, and that's just not happening. There is sort of like a sense of urgency that comes with that. I must solve that problem, I must do something to do that. And sometimes we're being called just to take a step back and take a deep breath. And even though the issue feels to be really pressing and really urgent, we need to do something about it. That being still will bring us the clarity that we seek, that this darkness, this blockage, if you like, will pass, that there's nothing permanent to it. 3 of these cards are minor arcana, which suggests to me a transient nature of the problem, and 1 of them is a major arcana, which is suggesting that this is a major theme for us today. It's a major issue, but it's not an insurmountable issue. So there we go. Those are the messages for today. That's June the 25th, 2018. I hope that's resonated and you found it of use, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care.